Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss what it can mean in general, what to do next, and what positions should be considered. So, let's start with the fact that in the previous video in this zone, I assumed growth to at least the level of 26,800. That is, this mirror level. At the same time, it was impossible to say for sure whether it would happen from the current marks or the 25,600 zone, but specifically here, I suggested considering an aggressive position with a stop for this level because growth should definitely happen. And at the moment, the most conservative and magnetic goal is the 26,800 level. And from this zone, we should get growth at least here. In fact, we touched the support zone, came to its upper border, and, in theory, we can get growth right from the current levels. But we remember about the zone below 25,600, where there was also an imbalance, and on both sides. Therefore, you also need to be prepared for a decrease in this area. On a small time frame, we already see a bad reversal pattern. Then here we see a break and an exit up. If you try long, then with a stop for this low, but with minimal risk, or you can simply gain a position on the decline in order to reach the level of 26,800 with a stop for the last low at 24,900. This long would work very perfectly because today we have come to exactly this level, and of course the most important question is what can happen next, whether the growth has ended there, to what levels we can get a decline. And now it's not for nothing that you have a 4-hour time frame on your screens, because on this time frame it is obvious that with a huge probability Bitcoin goes to the zone 25,600. That is, the very zone that I also highlighted in the previous video, which has been relevant all this time. Therefore, now, it is most logical to expect the continuation of this decline, at least to the level of 25,600, where it is definitely worth looking closely at the clone positions, because this is a very strong support zone, and the stop respectively should be located behind the level of 24,900. If we look at a smaller time frame, we see some kind of reaction, but there is definitely no reversal here, and it is very likely that we will get a break of this level in the near future. That's 26,170. Accordingly, on this growth, you can try an aggressive short position in order to remove this long, and in the case of this fracture, here we will see a divergence on the RSI indicator, and in general, it will already be a good reversal pattern on a small time frame, which can cause a more serious correction of this downward momentum, after which, most likely, the downward movement will continue to the same level of 25,600. Therefore, now you can try to take shorts on growth with the aim of breaking at this turning point. If there is a good reaction, take a long position with a stop for a new low, but where to aim is not yet clear. You can simply consider FIBO and focus on the 0.5 level, that is 26,500. But this is all quite a short-term and high-risk transaction, and those who do not like to take risks, it is best to wait until we come to this zone, and here I will try a fairly confident long position with the most logical stop and the most conservative goal, after falling into this zone, will be at the level of 26,236. But above we have only the level of 28,600 because the level of 26,800 is no longer relevant. It is fully worked out. Accordingly, if we go beyond this level, then with great probability, we go to shoot these stops 27,400, well, and there is already not far to 28,600. And this idea is also relevant. So now everything looks quite obvious. Of course, it's not a fact that everything will work out exactly this way, but technically the picture is very clear. Therefore, we will monitor the course of events. But now let's look at the dollar index. It continues to fart like a tank. Let me remind you, the goal for this growth is here. And of course, the most logical purchases on a spot or scrap position should be considered when the dollar index is in this zone, but how he will come to her is still not clear, because at any moment we can get a small correction, but the medium-term goal is still here, and from this zone, it is logical to expect a powerful correction of all this momentum, against which we can get a very good growth in cryptocurrencies. But while we are watching, no obvious conclusions can be made here, because any reversal it still breaks, and the dollar index continues to grow. Next, let's move on to altcoins. Let's start with the Ether coin. Here too, everything looked lang, as I talked about in the previous video, and the minimum target was here. This is 1,605. We went a little higher into this problem zone, 1,625. From here we got a strong reaction, and specifically on the Ether, it is not clear where we can adjust if Bitcoin goes to 25,600. So far, I would single out this support zone, that is, the level of 1,580. But in fact, we have already tested it. So in theory, the Ether can go down below this low, but it is undesirable to do this because there is a very beautiful reversal here, and in general, the Ether can safely continue to grow even after such a drain. Therefore, for the time being, we can focus on the level of 1,580, from where we would like to see the continuation of this growth, because I believe that it is also not finished. There is quite an obvious chain to the level of 1,700, and also the level of 1,800. Well, from below there is also a reversal pattern on an older time frame, and a reversal pattern on a smaller time frame. Therefore, the Ether still looks good, but we still have Bitcoin in priority, and it suggests a deeper correction. But the situation is unclear specifically on the air, so it's better to just watch. Let's take a quick look at the Atom coin. In previous videos, I noted that the Shartev tool looks like, and most likely this low will be updated, that is, level 685. We haven't updated it yet, so the idea is relevant. With a high probability, the Atom will go below this level for some kind of correction. If it is in this zone, you can try a short position, but it is quite obvious, so most likely we will remove this low first, and then show a correction. It's hard to say whether the last low will break through the Atom at 628, so it's better to just dial this tool on the sweat. That is, average it and wait for at least the goal 8.946. Next, the DOT coin has no changes. The goal of 4.4 is relevant, so you can safely accumulate on the spot. Locally, everything looks at the edge of this level, and here you can look at the positions. After a good reaction and absorption, with a stop for a new low. Next is the Link coin, the most reliable altcoin in my understanding. At the moment, it is in the resistance zone. Here I also noted that he looks like a short, but it's better not to consider the short because he has a global goal at 9 and 6. At the same time, I personally still sold at the level of 6 and 9, the position that I bought in this zone, just to reduce the risks. At the same time, most of the positions still remained, and it will be held exactly to the level of 9 and 6, and I will fix most of it there, leaving some percentage for a more serious growth. But it's too early to talk about it yet. At the moment, the tool also looks quite sharp, but the shorts are very dangerous, only with an understated risk. And given that Bitcoin also wants to continue the correction, the Link is likely to receive a correction of this momentum. But pay attention to how high we have risen into this resistance zone, and the stop is essentially nearby. And in general, all this is liquidity for subsequent growth. Therefore, the safest thing in my understanding is to wait for a deeper correction and just buy on the spot. The target for correction is here. It's 6, 46, and wait, respectively, for level 9 and 5. Or try a long position with a stop for this level here. If you try to look for shorts, then with minimal risk. Next, let's look at the coin AMX, and the pump ended with a drain. At the moment, it is difficult to say what will happen with this tool. There are no definite ideas. Locally, you can mark this problem area, that is level 064. And we still have to test this zone if the instrument wants to continue its decline. Personally, I'm not considering any purchases anymore. The last purchase was exactly at this level, on the border of the support zone, and I completely sold this position at the stage of this growth. At the same time, I still have a fairly large position that was accumulated in this range, and I will fix it at the level of $0.9. But it is difficult to say when and how we will get there. Perhaps this will happen against the background of Bitcoin's growth to the level of 28,600. On local time frames, you can search for long positions to come to this zone. Well, the logical stop should be behind this level, that is 0.53. Well, in the end, let's look at the Aptos coin, which also rolled away like AMX, but at the same time the pump was quite weak, and I personally did not take advantage of this growth in any way because the purchase was made at this level. But the most important thing is that goals 6 and 4 are still relevant, so until we reach this level, you can safely accumulate the tool or just buy it every day for a certain amount. Locally, you can look at the break of this level 49 and consider here the long positions after the reversal pattern. This video comes to an end. Do not forget to subscribe to the Telegram channel. Thank you all for watching.